So, and I actually had a great conversation with Zachary Levi. I don't know if you know who he is. He played Chuck in the show Chuck.
Uh-huh.
And I was trying to get him to do voiceover for the video game. He declined, but one of the things he said was, he's like, I don't call myself a Christian actor. I'm an actor who's a Christian. And he said that because it seems like any time somebody puts Christian on the front of a title of anything, they're trying to sell it solely based off of its Christianity, not on the fact that it's a good product.
Right.
And he's like, Christ is going to come out in anything I do, because I'm a Christian. And so he's very against the labeling of things as Christian, and he didn't down on my product. He's actually really nice. And the conversation I had with him, I told my wife, I was like, I never had a conversation with somebody where they turned me down and I felt better after the conversation. He's a really nice guy and really humble. And he's like, my ministry is I'm going to be in Hollywood, and when one of the people I work with, when they're down in their life and they look and they say, hey, what's this guy got that I don't? That's when I come in and I tell them about Christ.
He was also in the movie Tangled, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Now, you've mentioned your RPG work several times, and I know many people on the Holy Words Forum who would kill me if I didn't ask you to talk about it. So you've already kind of talked about your motives behind creating the RPG gaming world. How did you get all of that up and running?
Now you're talking about the video game, or are you talking about the pencil, paper, dice thing?
The actual video game that you're working on.
Okay. Wow. How did I get that all up and running? Like I said, it started as a suggestion, and then I just, searching around on Google, I was looking for a 3D graphic artist, or I didn't even know what to call it, and so I started searching, and I was looking for a number of someone to call, and I found a number on a website for a company. I didn't even pay attention to what the company was. And so I called that number, and this guy answers in this really deep voice, and he's like, he's not here right now, but is there something I can help you with? And so I just gave him a general idea. I have got this idea for a Christian fantasy video game that it's got, heavy with symbolism and, all that. And so after I gave him a general idea, he's like, well, stop right there. I don't want you to tell me anymore until we've signed an NDA. I didn't even know what that was at the time. And he's like, he said, but it's funny, you're talking to the right guy. And I was like, oh, why is that? He's like, because I'm the owner of the company, and it's a Christian video game development company.
Oh.
And so the name of the company was Enlightening, with an apostrophe, lightning, and they did a couple of games back in the 90s and early 2000s called Catechumen, let's see, Paladins Rising, and they've also worked, Ralph Bagley is the name of the guy who I was talking to, and he started a convention every year where the Christian video game developers would meet, and he was the chairman of that. So it was really, I don't believe in coincidence, and that of all things I wouldn't believe was a coincidence. And so, but I Googled him while I was talking to him. I just Googled the name Ralph Bagley, and in about 3 or 4 links down, I saw in quotations, "Godfather of Christian Gaming."
Wow.
And I'm like, really? Seriously?
Providential.
Yeah. And so, it was really funny. He told me, he's like, you need to create a business, and you need to write up a business plan, and sent me my first template for a business plan, and all of that. I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, and he kind of mentored me and kind of explained the video game development process, and all of that, and I actually haven't talked to Ralph in a little while, but he really kind of got me started off, and then it just kind of took off from there. He actually got us presented to a venture capital company for investments, because the woman called and was like, hey, my kids played your game. Are you involved in anything? He's like, well, I'm not, but I know this guy who is. And so this venture capital company represented Microsoft and Apple.
Wow.
And so that was like our first representation for investment. I figured out what I was doing wrong, though, is I didn't have a demo. And it took years for me to kind of, I figured everything out as I went. you know, I didn't have a business degree or anything like that. I was in the Air Force when I had this conversation with Ralph. But anyway, I got to sit down and speak with an angel investor, really nice guy, Christian guy. His name is Peter Waldschmidt, and he really kind of helped me understand what was missing. And he's like, look, you know, you have a really great idea here. I mean, it's already really well concepted, and I mean, I can tell you got something here. But he said, there's only one problem, and it's a big problem. He said, great ideas are nothing if you can't execute them. It's not worth anything. And as an investor, if I'm looking at a great idea, I have to think, can the guy execute it? And he said, you know, your company, you never made a video game. You don't have a degree in video game development. You don't have a team put together that's ever made a video game together. And so, he challenged me. He said, you know, I'm not going to invest. However, I challenge you to make a demo. And so that's about 6 months later, we started on the demo. And it's been really great. I've been blessed with Full Sail University. We did a internship program with them where graduates would work remotely for us for 3 months and get to defer their loans and get 5 credits added to their degree. I mean, they've already graduated.
Right.
And then there were some amazing artists that have worked and I'll maybe give you something to post up, or we have a video of the animations and models and stuff that were done for the project, and I mean, it's just insane that this work has been done and no money has been put out yet.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, even that was just internships. So I mean, it was they weren't making any money; they're getting experience. And now, granted, I tried to do the best I could by these guys. I got 2 of them hired on by another company that I'm friends with the CEO of. You know, and I always gave good references and, you know, stuff like that. So it was a leg up for them, and it was good experience. But it was really, I mean, we wouldn't have all that we have. We have 101 3D models developed, 20 of them animated in the Unity 3D gaming engine, where there's a complete environment already created. Only problem is I keep on losing programmers. And so that's what we're stuck at right now. I mean, you can't have a game without a program. Right. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you know how to program in Unity 3D, get in contact with me.
And we will give that contact information on the site.
All right, great.